The story begins with a city in turmoil as the wicked Break King watches from his fortress above. However, the Kazan Rangers arrive to stop him, summoning their Kazan beasts, which merge together to form the Maximum Kaiser. They charge toward the fortress as the Break King fires countless lasers at them, but they manage to cut through and smash the fortress's skull. However, they get hit in the process, losing an arm. Realizing they can't go on, they entrust their leader, Red, to finish the mission. As the others fall, he continues inside the fortress to confront the Break King. The villain mocks the Ranger's bonds, insisting Red is all alone, but he declares that he fights with the belief and trust of his comrades. The Break King blasts him with lasers, but Red endures it and lands a devastating strike, causing a massive explosion. As he plummets from the sky, he feels satisfied, knowing that even though he didn't get a happy ending, he was able to give hope to others for the future. But before he hits the ground, he is suddenly teleported to another world. 6 months later, two adventurers struggle against a golem, realizing they don't stand a chance. This disappoints Yedra, who calls them useless. She orders the golem to stop, and the adventurers become angry at her condescending attitude. However, she commands the golem to take them outside. Looking at a painting of her father, she vows to reclaim the position of royal scepter. Her butler, Poseidon, tells her there is another adventurer to test. She doubts he will be any better than the others, but Poseidon mentions that he has built a reputation in just 6 months. She hopes he isn't as cowardly as the last one, but she is suddenly sent flying as Red begins fighting the golem. He tells her to escape while he holds it back, saying it kidnaps people, but she shocks him by revealing that it's her familiar, which she uses to test adventurers. The golem keeps attacking, and he recalls that something about it was mentioned in the contract, making him realize his test has already begun. Using his bracelet, he summons his suit, shocking Yedra since she senses no mana from it. She immediately knows that it isn't a magic tool and is puzzled by his ability to transform instantly without using magic. Calming herself, she analyzes him as he uses his fire punch to attack the golem, blowing it up. Acknowledging his power, she tells him he has passed the test. Afterward, Red tells them he's from another world, and Yedra believes him due to his extraordinary abilities. She mentions that there's plenty of information on other worlders, and that there are claims the hero who sealed away the Demon Queen was one of them. She asks about his strange outfit, but he's surprised she dislikes it, explaining that kids in his world love it. Accepting his origins, she moves on to discuss the job, instructing him to collect Manel from the Wakenar ruins. Poseidon explains that Manel is a newly discovered ore that crystallizes under a strange power when mana bursts from the ground along ley lines. Yedra states that she needs to study mana metal to determine if it can be used in magic, saying the royal family must be aware if it poses any danger. Red realizes that she protects the bond between people and magic, which excites him. He leaps out the window, transforming into his suit, saying they must find the mana metal as soon as possible. Summoning a terrible huddle, she scolds him for summoning bizarre items, saying he's becoming an even bigger mystery than the mana metal. But before she can react, he grabs her and flies off using the terrible huddle. Upon reaching the ruins, Red comments on how quickly they arrived, unaware he smashed through 3 monsters along the way. Yedra corrects him, stating that the giant birds he ignored were actually creatures. As they enter the ruins, they are ambushed by monsters. Yedra freezes them with her ice magic, while Red uses his spinning double blade to take them down. He pulls out his marriage beam gun and uses different modes to attack, causing the monsters to explode. Confused by his bizarre weapons, Yedra points out that his attacks destroyed the loot they dropped. He dismisses them as weak, making her wonder what kind of enemies he fought in his previous world. He reveals that his greatest foe was the secret society of relationship enders, an organization that sought to conquer the world by severing people's bonds. To stop them, he and his allies formed the Kazan Five, but Yedra finds his explanation difficult to grasp. As Red wonders if his friends are safe, Yedra tells him to find a way home if he's worried about them. He admits that after arriving, he searched everywhere for a way back, but instead discovered this world had problems just like his own. Convinced there must be a reason he was sent here, he won't return until he understands why. He believes that if he continues helping people, the answer will eventually reveal itself. Curious, he asks about Yedra's dream, prompting her to reveal that she expresses her desire to restore her family's status as the royal scepter. But Red is unfamiliar with the title, so she explains that it is given to mages responsible for overseeing all sorcery on behalf of the royal family. Her family held this duty for generations, striving to bring happiness to the kingdom. However, 10 years ago, her father lost the battle for the scepter position, leading to their expulsion from the capital. The current scepter reserves magic for knights and aristocrats, using it solely as a tool for war. This is why she aims to reclaim the title. She tells Red he can laugh at her ambition, acknowledging it may seem childish, but he instead declares that he admires the greatness of her dream. As they continue forward, they come across skeletons, making her realize these are the remains of adventurers who previously ventured there. Red locates the mana metal, but she finds it suspicious, as it appears someone has been collecting them. Suddenly, a dragon appears behind her, and Red rushes to protect her but gets struck by its attack. He prepares to transform, and she questions if he intends to fight while injured, but he insists they must defeat the dragon to obtain the mana metal. She urges him to stop, saying she cannot let him die after involving him in her struggle. However, he asserts that his mission is to protect her dream because he has fallen in love with it. He activates his armor, but the transformation causes an explosion that sends her flying. She yells at him to avoid transforming when someone is directly behind him. The dragon launches another attack, so he uses the turbo huddle to escape, but she wonders how he intends to win. He reveals his secret weapon, stating it requires a strong bond of friendship and needs her help. She doubts it will work since they have only known each other for half a day, but he believes that sharing their dreams has already created a deep connection. Summoning the Maximum Kaiser, he explains that it is a manifestation of their friendship. But as the dragon strikes the mech, he realizes their bond isn't generating enough power, leaving them with only 20 seconds of energy. She begins to lose hope, but he firmly takes her hand, assuring her their bond is strong enough to defeat the dragon. He then fires a powerful energy beam, completely disintegrating the dragon into dust. 7 days later, Yedra meets Red at the Adventurers Guild and announces her decision to become an adventurer so she can study his abilities. She believes that by unlocking his powers, she might uncover a new type of magic capable of sending people to other worlds. If successful, this discovery could help her reclaim the scepter position. She proposes forming a party with him, which moves him to tears, as he feels that fate brought him here to meet her. Yedra then observes that while his transformed state looks odd, his physical body is similar to those in her world. She decides to analyze his blood for mana, but Red panics at the sight of her needle. Meanwhile, a guild worker hands Yedra a stat tag, confirming her official status as an adventurer. The tag also tracks skills and stats, and when she examines her own, she sees that her magic and intelligence are at maximum capacity. Red is thoroughly impressed, certain that her abilities will lead her to become the royal scepter. She suggests he check his stats as well to help her better understand his powers, but his results only leave her more confused. At that moment, 2 adventurers named Xatu and Lane arrive, furious at Yedra. She fails to recognize them, so they remind her they were among those she rejected after losing to her golem. She nonchalantly states she can't be expected to remember every adventurer she turned away. The 2 warn Red against joining her party, but he defends her, saying that although she is strict, she genuinely tries to help others, proving she isn't as bad as they claim. However, Xatu and Lane doubt she has what it takes to be an adventurer, calling her the daughter of the cowardly mage. Enraged, she demands they take back their words, arguing that they know nothing about her father. Intimidated by her fierce expression, they hesitate, but she reminds them they couldn't even defeat her golem, making them unworthy of judging others. Frustrated, they prepare for a fight, but Red intervenes, suggesting they settle the dispute with a quest. They head to a dungeon where Red mentions that a mysterious monster has been appearing recently, proposing that the team to defeat it first will be declared the winner. Yedra insists that if she wins, Xatu and Lane must apologize for insulting her father, but she promises to do anything they ask if she loses. Confident in their knowledge of the dungeon, the 2 eagerly accept, planning to make her their servant once they claim victory. As they navigate the dungeon, Xatu and Lane carefully take a route avoiding manure, knowing the monster's hearing is highly sensitive. However, Red transforms into his armor, triggering an explosion that immediately puts them in danger. Surrounded by minotaurs, Red swiftly takes action, launching them into the air without hesitation, completely unfazed by the situation. They battle a group of monsters, but Yedra struggles, so she urges Red to use his secret weapon. He summons the Maximum Kaiser, but it gets stuck due to its size, forcing them to fight alone. However, she notices that most enemies were crushed by the mech. A Minotaur attacks Xatu from behind, but she saves him with water magic, surprising him. He asks why she helped, and she explains that even after her father lost the royal scepter position, he continued studying magic to assist others. She feels it is her duty to use magic to protect everyone. She also reminds them that they still need to apologize for their remarks. Red calls her an intimidating beauty, making her blush, but Xatu scolds them for flirting mid-battle. Suddenly, the monster they were hunting appears, causing the Minotaurs to flee. Yedra readies herself, but Red warns her to stay back, sensing it is as strong as an enemy general. Xatu and Lane charge, but the creature shatters their weapons in one swing. Red intervenes, knocking it down, but is shocked by its tough skin, likening it to a force field used by a Brack fiend named Reject Tandra. A flashback shows Red's friend, Blue, fighting Reject Tandra. He shoots, but she blocks with her shield. She mocks him for stuffing himself at buffets just to maximize his money, calling it cheap. He retorts that he dislikes girls who never pay their share, but she reminds him he invited her. She attacks with ice, but Red shatters it and tells Blue to strategize while he keeps her busy. He encourages Blue, saying he always innovates when plans fail. He explains that rejection can be overcome with a stronger bond, allowing them to summon the victory Kazin Buster. They fire it, defeating her. Returning to the present, Red recalls that bonding their hearts fuels their weapon with energy, making it their most powerful attack. He asks Xatu and Lane for assistance. Yedra assumes they won't cooperate, but is shocked when they agree. Red summons the Buster, but as they fire, the beam splits in two and misses the target. The monster counterattacks, but Red blocks. He realizes hostility among users weakens the bond energy, causing the beam to split. He recalls a similar issue between Blue and Yellow in the past. The monster punches Red into a wall, knocking him unconscious. Yedra attempts to heal him, but the creature attacks her, prompting Xatu and Lane to shield her. She asks why, and they reply that it's their way of repaying her for saving them. They admit they cannot defeat the monster alone and need Red's power. She realizes she had been looking down on them due to arrogance. They get knocked away, and the monster prepares to strike her, but Red regains consciousness and punches it, sending it flying. He notes that their hostility is gone, so he transforms, and they prepare to fire the Buster again. This time, the attack lands perfectly, destroying the creature. However, an injured old man suddenly appears. They take him to the guild, and after Xatu and Lane depart, Yedra admits she never thought she could reconcile with those she resented. Red tells her that continuing to push herself always pays off. She then declares she has a new challenge for him, revealing a needle, but he tries to escape. Meanwhile, the old man leaves the guild, but is confronted by two individuals. It turns out he was the monster they had defeated. He attempts to fight back, but the duo easily subdues him and extract a seed from his head, stating that they need it to save the world. Meanwhile, Yedra and Red return home, where she informs Poseidon that Red will be staying with them. Poseidon is concerned about Red's intentions, as he is a man. She reminds him that he is also a man, but he argues that he has served her family for years and sees her as a granddaughter. He then tells Red that if he wants to stay, he must become a eunuch, causing Red to scream. Yedra tries to defend him, but the duo who defeated the old man suddenly appear. The girl introduces herself as Princess Tella of the Avalos Empire, and her attendant, Miss, draws his sword, stating that he will punish Red for acting inappropriately in front of Tella. However, Tella scolds him for entering without permission, reminding him to be more understanding if he wants to be a hero loved by all. He responds that he only needs her love. Tella tells Yedra she needs her help to study a magical tool, but Red notices it resembles the object on the old man's head. Yedra mentions that the old man disappeared from the guild, but Tella assures them not to worry. Teller reassures them that the old man is fine and reveals that the object is a mana seed, which amplifies the mana of its host, granting them a unique magic based on their deepest desires. She calls it privileged magic. Red questions how it differs from normal spells, so she explains that if someone wishes for gold, they gain a spell that turns everything they touch into gold. Likewise, if someone wants to protect their belongings, they receive a barrier spell that shields their entire property. This magic allows users to perform advanced spells without training. Yedra thinks it sounds beneficial, but Teller warns that the mana seed eventually takes over the body, transforming the user into a mana beast. Yedra questions why the royal family hasn't banned it if it's so dangerous. Teller suspects the current royal scepter, Shalia, is involved. Though she lacks proof, she points out that mana seeds are so costly that only nobles can afford them, suggesting Shalia knows about them but remains silent. Red believes they need answers, but Teller explains that Shalia is backed by the royal family, making any confrontation risky. She reveals that Shalia has been using privileged magic to make people suffer, so she sees it as her duty as a princess to stop him. Yedra agrees to help, thinking this is her chance to defeat the royal scepter and build a good relationship with Teller. Red also wants to join, but Mist points his sword at him, refusing to let an undisciplined adventurer accompany Teller. He believes Red will only disrupt their journey. Red decides to prove his strength. Before they fight, Teller warns that Mist is infamous for completing high-level bounties alone. She adds that he wields the legendary sword used by the hero who defeated the Demon Queen, making him the strongest swordsman alive. She doubts anyone can defeat him in direct combat. Red transforms into his armor, but Mist remains unfazed, surprising Yedra. They begin fighting, and Red quickly realizes Mist is stronger than the enemy generals he has fought. Mist acknowledges Red's strength and decides to take the fight seriously, activating his sword's second form. Red responds by summoning the Maximum Kaiser, shocking Mist. Yedra is confused about how Teller is also inside the mech, believing only those bonded with Red could enter. Red explains that they share a bond since Teller revealed her goal to him. However, Mist misinterprets it, thinking Red is taking Teller hostage. Mist furiously charges, pushing the mech back. Red struggles to land a hit because of Mist's smaller size, so he summons his bond sword. Mist believes Red still won't touch him, but as Red swings, the sheer wind pressure sends Mist flying. Despite losing, Mist remains adamant that Red cannot join them. Teller reminds him of his promise, arguing that Red is too powerful to roam freely, so it's better to keep him close. Accepting this, they begin their journey, heading to the town of Aeolina, rumored to be controlled by a lord possessing mana seeds. Red urges them to move quickly, but Mist insists on following Teller's pace. He also annoys Red by addressing him by his full name, prompting Red to tell him to stop, pointing out that even Teller just calls him Red. Mist smirks and continues teasing him. Upon arriving in Aeolina, they are shocked to find the town empty. Teller speculates that it's due to mana seeds. A woman warns them to avoid the Lord, explaining that speaking about him to outsiders is forbidden. She urges them to leave immediately. Teller questions how the Lord knows they're here, and Yedra suspects it's due to a magical field surrounding the town. A monster suddenly ambushes Yedra, but Red saves her. She deduces that this is part of the Lord's privileged magic. The Lord then appears, and Teller declares that she won't allow him to oppress his people using magic. She demands the mana seed, but he claims that the townspeople were misguided and incapable of reaching paradise, so he merely showed them the right path. Red is enraged that the Lord uses his power to manipulate people into submission. He immediately transforms into his armor to fight. However, he struggles against the monsters, continuously getting hit. Yedra analyzes the situation and realizes that the privileged magic enables the Lord to detect rule breakers and summon monsters to punish them. She also deduces that the magic field allows the Lord to identify Red's weak spots, repeatedly sending attacks there. Teller orders Mist to assist, but he refuses, explaining that if he joins the fight, he'll also be targeted. Teller sees through his excuse, and he finally admits that he just enjoys watching Red get beaten. He prepares to summon the Gazina beasts, but suddenly a monster appears. A monster suddenly strikes Mist from behind, shattering his armor. Everyone realizes he's in danger, but a smoke bomb blinds the monsters, allowing Red's group to escape. Meanwhile, the Lord notices his enemies have returned. The woman who previously warned them about him introduces herself as Grocer and leads them to the Resistance headquarters, explaining their mission to liberate the town. She reveals that the Lord can't sense them outside the city's magical barrier. Red informs her about the mana seeds, and she agrees to help destroy them, but admits that her group alone can't defeat the Lord. Mist suggests they relocate to another town, but she refuses, explaining that they won't abandon their home. Red recalls his own hometown and understands their struggle, promising to help reclaim their land. Yedra asks how they should approach the battle, and Grocer presents a list of the Lord's rules, revealing that anyone who breaks them is attacked by monsters. Red suggests sniping the Lord with Maximum Kaiser, but Grocer warns that doing so would destroy the town. She explains that the Lord's mana sits at the center and that his spell remains active even while he sleeps. She proposes a strategy, but warns that Mist and Red must watch each other's backs despite their hostility. Teller encourages Mist to cooperate, promising to clean his ears if he does, which convinces him instantly. That evening, Yedra relaxes in the bath when Teller unexpectedly joins her, revealing that she has never bathed with someone her age. Teller admits she read Yedra's records and learned about her passion for helping people through magic, and her determination to reclaim the royal scepter position. Later, Red informs Teller that he's going to take a bath, and she slyly hints that Yedra is still in the pool. However, she reassures him that no one is there. Mist secretly listens in as Red asks Teller why she insists on joining them in the manor, given the danger posed by the Lord's magic. Teller explains that she wants to be like Red, reminding him of how he once faced the enemy leader alone despite overwhelming odds, simply because he wanted to protect everyone. She believes he is willing to sacrifice himself for others, but he clarifies that he doesn't wish to die. She agrees, adding that she values her own life as well and asks him to protect her on their journey. Mist grows irritated upon overhearing this. Meanwhile, Red jumps into the pool, only to realize Yedra is still there. They both panic, startled by each other's presence. Determined not to be replaced, Mist secretly steals Red's bond plate, believing he alone should protect Teller. The next morning, as they approach the manor, the girls stay outside while Red and Mist prepare to fight the Lord. Red attempts to transform, but panics upon realizing his bond plate is missing. A monster ambushes him from behind and sends him flying into the water. The girls watch in shock as Yedra immediately dives in to save him, urging Teller to stay put. Meanwhile, the monsters warn Mist not to defy the Lord, but he stands his ground, deciding to fight alone. In a flashback, Red and his friend Silver discuss the nature of bonds, with Silver comparing them to blades, capable of wounding others and difficult to wield in large numbers. She observes that Red constantly speaks about forging bonds because he fears being alone. Back in the present, Red regains consciousness and realizes Yedra rescued him. Noticing her acting strangely, he asks what's wrong, and she sheepishly reveals that she had to give him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Red remains unbothered and instead asks about Mist and Teller. Meanwhile, Mist is still fighting, and Teller warns him that the plan has failed, ordering him to regroup with Red. Mist insists it's fine, reminding her that he is the hero. He then uses his holy sword's power to slay the surrounding monsters in a single strike. Teller is impressed by his strength, but the Lord summons even more minions and recognizes Mist as the holy sword's chosen wielder. A flashback from 2 years earlier shows Teller telling Mist that he was chosen as their hero. At the time, Mist doubted his worthiness because he lacked mana, but she explained that the holy sword actually absorbs mana. Every warrior who attempted to wield it before him had collapsed upon touching it, proving that he alone was meant for it. Teller asked him to help her save the world, but Mist hesitated, unwilling to protect those who had bullied him. Understanding his pain, Teller reassured him that his resentment stemmed from a desire for acceptance. She promised to stay by his side if he was honest about his feelings, declaring that she accepted him as he was. Returning to the present, Mist vows to destroy all mana seeds for Teller's sake. His sword shifts into its second form, instantly incinerating the monsters. The Lord, impressed, reminds Mist that Teller is exposed. Mist then notices that the monsters are about to attack her. Reacting quickly, he rushes to her side, shielding her with his body. The Lord observes that Mist is unaccustomed to defending others, while Mist assures Teller that he will create an opening for her escape. Red reassures everyone that everything will be fine as Yedra creates a barrier to protect them. She warns that it won't hold for long while she starts healing Mist, who insists that she focus on getting Teller to safety. Red advises Mist not to overexert himself, but Mist refuses and drops Red's bond £100,000, making it clear that he had stolen it. The others realize this, but Red assumes he was just trying to transform, understanding how Mist feels since everyone desires that experience. Telatina urges him to be honest, prompting Mist to admit that he was scared of Red replacing him as the hero. He confesses he tried to kill Red to stay close to her, but Teller reassures Mist, sharing her own story of being a low-ranking royal who lacked knights to serve her, yet she still believed it was her duty to save the world. She tells Mist he is her only hero and she will never replace him. Red suggests that their bond could grow stronger if tested, inviting Mist to form a bond with him, but Mist rejects it, saying they are incompatible and that he doesn't want to see Red's face. A monster then breaks the barrier, but Mist slays it and tells Red to look away as he transforms into his ranger form. The Lord appears with his minions, but Red and Mist work together to defeat them. One monster nearly attacks the girls, but Red shoots it, and the Lord is shocked by their teamwork. Red charges forward with Mist, and they defeat him, although the mana seed starts to go berserk, expanding rapidly. The group decides to retreat as it rises into the sky, causing panic in the town. Grosser orders the evacuation, but Red reassures his friends, saying he's used to fighting giant monsters. He summons the Maximum Kaiser, and Mist wonders why he's inside it. The girls realize Red formed a bond with him. They fly toward the monster, pushing it away, and Red plans to take it to a safe place to destroy it. They reach outer space, where Teller realizes that no angels exist above the clouds. Red summons the Great Bond Sword as the creature prepares to strike, allowing Mist to control the Maximum Kaiser. Mist uses the sword to cut the monster in half, and a massive explosion follows. Everyone celebrates as the Maximum Kaiser triumphs. Returning to town, they find the Lord's mana seed, and Telatina notes that it will continue to revive as long as the Lord remains unconscious. She explains they can either kill him or remove the seed from his body. Using a privileged spell, she summons the silver wolf Ficus, who tries to eat the Lord but spits him out. Ira realizes the mana seed is gone, and Teller reveals it was removed. She adds that despite Ficus's size, he's harmless and only retrieves mana seeds. She orders him to return, but she also warns that her ability could make her a target, so she wants to keep it secret. Red remembers that he too kept his identity secret because Blue had told him to. Red reveals that his powers only lasted for a week, and the group decides not to discuss Violis. However, a voice interrupts them, and a royal demon named Dobby appears. Red asks Yedra about royal demons, and she explains that they are the offspring of the Demon Queen, sealed away 1,000 years ago. While they plan to release her, Yedra notes that the demons have been silent for centuries, wondering why Dobby has come now. He admits he's there to eliminate them for interfering with his plan, revealing that he's the one who planted the mana seeds. Teller is angered by this, as people are suffering because of him, but Dobby remains indifferent. He states that his goal is to flood the world with negative mana so his mother can return, and he's willing to sacrifice humans for this. Red and Mist try to attack him, but he flies away, mocking them for being exhausted. Red transforms into his ranger form, and Dobby summons his minions, with Yedra recognizing Gross as one of them. Dobby admits to giving them defective mana seeds that went berserk. Red charges at him, but his attacks are blocked. Teller urges Mist to help, but Mist says he wants to protect her. She insists that they must defeat Dobby first, and Mist decides to take him on. Dobby attacks them, and they struggle to defend themselves. Yedra uses a spell to burn the monsters, while Violis removes their mana seeds. Teller suddenly becomes exhausted, and Yedra realizes she's reached her limit from absorbing the mana. She thinks the Holy Sword can absorb her mana, but doesn't want to disturb Mist, hoping he will defeat Dobby. Dobby mocks the resistance, stating that despite their desire to protect the town, they went berserk after receiving the seeds. Red tries to shoot him, but Dobby blocks the bullets, claiming that royal demons have stronger bonds than humans because they're working together to free their mother. He reminisces about his mother's smile and reveals he's been fighting for years to see her again. He says Red is standing in the way of their bond, but then stops fighting. Mist tells Red not to listen to Dobby, who compares the bond to that of villains in his world. However, he insists that if a bond threatens others, it must be ended. Mist summons his Turble Huddle and uses it to fly toward Dobby, who tries to stop him by surrounding Mist with his hands. Red tells him it won't work, but Dobby detonates his hands, causing Red and Mist to fall. Dobby thinks it's over, but Red gets back up. Dobby realizes Red will be a problem in the future since he's an otherworlder. He uses his big smile skill to finish him off, but Mist pushes Red aside and is struck instead. The explosion goes off, and Red wonders why Mist saved him. Mist casually explains that it was just a spur-of-the-moment decision. Dobby observes that Mist survived due to the Holy Sword weakening the blast, and Red, angered, suddenly exudes a dark aura. He punches Dobby away, noting that otherworlders are dangerous because their powers are unpredictable. At that moment, a mage summons tentacles, restraining all the monsters in the area. She recognizes Yedra and mocks her for struggling against the monsters. It's revealed that the mage is the royal Subta Shah, and Dobby decides to retreat. Red and Shah try to stop him, but he manages to escape. Afterward, Mist apologizes to Teller for not protecting her, but she reminds him he was only following her orders. Grosser wonders about Yedra's actions, and Yedra explains that she's letting the Holy Sword absorb her mana so her body can recover. She feels that the town was destroyed because they weren't strong enough to protect it, but Grosser reassures her that the villagers will work together to rebuild. Red theorizes that Dobby must have fought otherworlders before, and Idra mentions records of the hero who sealed the Demon Queen, suggesting he was from another world. Red wonders if the hero was able to return to his world, but Idra reveals that no one knows what happened to him after sealing the Demon Queen. Shah suddenly interrupts, telling them they must return to the capital to treat Teller. Red realizes she's in critical condition due to mana overdose, which caused her seed to swell. Shalia creates a transportation gate, and they are teleported to the Sorcery Tower. Shah explains that it's the only place for studying magic, but that's where this video ends. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.